Are you an elite actor? Hey everybody, I'm Matthew Cornwell with Get Taped here in Atlanta, Georgia, one of Atlanta's original audition taping services, which I co-own with my amazingly talented, beautiful wife and best friend, Brooke. And now on to our topic. Are you an elite actor? Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about a couple opportunities that we're offering at Get Taped in the very near future at the end of this video, so be sure to stick around. Okay, so this title seems a little off. I mean, what is an elite actor? How can you quantify such a thing? And is it only designated to award-winning celebrities? Short answer, no. Does it apply to common folk like you and me? Short answer, yes. And the reason that I chose this phrase is because Brooke and I, over the last year, have been doing some collaborations with our friend Joe Town at the Performer's Mindset. There he is. And he likes to use a lot of sports metaphors, probably because he was inspired by the billion-dollar sports psychology industry when he formed his company, The Performer's Mindset. And so he takes those principles that they work so hard to develop for athletes and ports them over for actors. And let me just tell you, it's brilliant stuff. Be sure to check out theperformersmindset.com, link in the show notes below. But despite Joe's influence and our collaborations together, I don't think he actually uses that phrase elite actor. Pretty sure that's just a bug that got inside my head. So what do I mean by it? Well, it might be first easier to define what isn't an elite actor, at least how I see it. For example, the non-elite actors are the ones that only act when given an opportunity to. That is, when they get an audition or a booking. The time between auditions is not spent getting better or working on their career. Non-elite actors might also be categorized by their inconsistency when performing. These are the actors plagued by such things as, oh, it was so much better in the car. It was so much better at home. Why? I had these lines a second ago, I swear. And there are a lot of other behaviors that might be indicative of a non-elite actor, but I'm not really here to crap on actors, as it were. And these examples I've given thus far are not of bad actors. That's not what I'm saying at all. Since we're talking about sports metaphors, think about baseball. Below the major league level, there's AAA, AA, Class A Advanced, Class A Short Season, and Rookie. Try to wrap your head around that. And all of those levels are filled with good players. Some of them darn good that will eventually end up at the major league level. So I'm not saying that all actors are below rookie level or even sitting in the rookie level. Not at all. But after over 13 years at Get Taped, where we have probably done over 15,000 auditions for actors, I can say with certainty that the vast majority of actors, and this includes LA actors that come into town or New York actors all around the country, the vast majority are probably below AAA. You have Major League, AAA, AA, Class A. So they're sitting around that Class A Advanced or maybe that AA for some of the better actors, the more disciplined actors. And this vast majority of actors lack the consistency, the persistence, the determination, the perseverance, the hard work that would help them to achieve and maintain that elite status. Now, it's fine if you don't have goals of reaching this elite status as I have defined it. Some actors are just doing this for fun as a hobby. But be honest with yourself. If at the end of the day you're in this for fame and fortune, that's fine. But how do you expect to get to that level without cultivating these types of qualities that elite actors have? And so if you're watching this during the 2023 WGA SAG-AFTRA strikes, then you could think of this time as the off season, right? The big difference being a professional athlete knows when opening day is, and we're still kind of in the dark right now as to when the strikes will end. Be that as it may, though, are you going to wait until you have 5 auditions in your inbox, all due at the same time, before you start thinking about ramping up for opening day? You'll realize that you're not equipped to handle it. And then what will happen is you'll likely get angry at the very opportunities you've been waiting so long for. You'll curse anybody and everybody simply because you did not get ready during the off season. Now, hear me on this. I am not trying to guilt anybody into constantly training and constantly improving your craft, especially if this is just a hobby for you. The strike has been long, and so we have all needed to take time to stop, breathe, relax, find other hobbies, maybe cultivate new friendships, or to spend more time with family, or to work on that home improvement project. But at some point, you need to start recalibrating for opening day when all that work comes flooding back, because it will. You could kick the can down the road another week or month or two, or you could choose to start getting ready now so that you will be ready when all of those opportunities come. And to achieve this elite status that I've only sort of ambiguously defined up to this point, what sort of classes or training do I speak of? Well, craft classes are great, especially if you're at the beginning of your career. I encourage you to take several years of technique or craft related classes. But many actors, once they've done this, sometimes only after an 8-week technique class, they feel like, well, that's it. And now that I'm auditioning becomes my training, right? Wrong. Okay, Matt, so what else should I be doing? Well, you should definitely take a voice class at some point in your career. You should definitely take a movement class of some sort, whether that is dance, like tap, ballet, jazz, or maybe just yoga or martial arts or boxing or kickboxing, something to get you more in tune with your physical body. Oh, and you should definitely take improv, a lot of improv, like months, years, maybe. But after all of that is taken care of, there is still a couple missing links that I notice for the vast majority of actors. The first is centered around mindset. That is, how do you manage your stress, nerves, anxiety, etc.? Do you have a system? Do you have a plan for when you get nervous? Do you have a way of combating anxiety? Do you have a systematized approach for doing auditions, for what happens between takes on set or in that self-tape environment, for how to review your film, your tapes after the fact, so that you can not just crap on yourself, but actually get better from having reviewed your own tape? That's all about mindset, and so many actors have neglected it. And the other missing link is basically how an actor perceives themselves. Most actors think they know how they're perceived, but so much of that just exists inside your own head, which is why so often casting directors or directors will give you the note of, hey, just relax, just be yourself. And you're thinking, how was I not myself? There's clearly a disconnect there. And if we don't get to understand how the casting director perceives us, how our agent perceives us, how the director perceives us, how our audience perceives us, well, then we're going to make this career a lot harder than it needs to be. And so if I've piqued your interest, then as promised at the beginning of this video, I want to avail you to a couple opportunities that are coming up at Get Taped, both of which will help you achieve a more disciplined, elite version of yourself. The first opportunity is the collaboration that I was talking about earlier with Joe Town of The Performer's Mindset. We are bringing back a class that we pioneered earlier this year called Get Better Together. We did the first class around Self-Tape May. And what we do is we have the actors outside of class tape themselves or bring in old auditions for us to review with the class over Zoom. And it becomes an eye-opening experience, the way we have developed this class, to pick apart your tapes the way an elite athlete picks apart their game film. I promise you, this class does not exist anywhere else, and it is a unique combination of the skill sets of Joe, who brings all of his mindset, knowledge, and experience to the table, and Brooke and I, who, like I said before, have taped over 15,000 auditions, and so we know a thing or two about the trends that happen with actors when they're in that environment of self-taping. And so together we're able to impart such interesting nuggets of wisdom to you that will help you to develop better habits when you are alone in your own house, self-taping with your spouse, your neighbor, your fellow actor friend, so that you can get better on your own, not just in this group environment, but you can continue to level up even by yourself. The first iteration of this class was super successful, which is why we are bringing it back in September and October of 2023. Now, we spread the class over 6 Zoom calls. The first 2 Zooms are more about getting to know each other, setting expectations, and then giving the students tracks to run on and invitations on what they should tape on their own time before we get into the core bulk of the class in October when we start to review your tapes. Again, the same way that elite athletes review game film, we're going to take you through a systematized way of looking at your own tapes to level up your game. There's a link below to register for the class if you are so inclined, and if you're watching this before the class actually starts. And if you are watching this before August 30th of 2023, we are offering a early bird discount for anybody who registers before midnight Eastern Standard Time on August 30th. After that, the price goes up, and you can find all those details through the links below on our website. Oh, and regardless of when you register, you will be given the option to only pay half up front if that's more attractive to you. The second opportunity I referenced that is coming up is an in-person free preview of the Sam Christensen image process, because this 4-day workshop will be a game changer for your career. It touches on what I alluded to earlier, if you've not heard me spiel about this before, that idea of getting to know how the world perceives you and how that might be different than how you thought you were perceived. There are always revelations from every student as to how the world perceives them, and for actors, it becomes invaluable knowledge on how to move forward in your career. So if you're in the Atlanta area, you can join us in person at Get Taped on Wednesday, August 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern, because, you know, Atlanta is in the Eastern time zone, at Get Taped, like I said. And space is limited because our space isn't that big, so we keep it nice and intimate for these in-person previews. And if you don't live in Atlanta, well, never fear, because we're doing another virtual free preview for the SAM process, September 28th, 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And all of the links for all of these opportunities are in the show notes below. And if you happen to be watching this not in the sort of late summer, early fall of 2023, there will still be evergreen links in the show notes below that will tell you what is happening in the near future, whether it be virtual or in person. So to wrap things up, where would you place yourself in that hierarchy of leagues that I referenced before in baseball? You have Major League Baseball, AAA, AA, and then all those ones below that. You might think that you're at that elite status, but if you're really honest with yourself, there might be some room for improvement, some discipline to be had, some new systems that you could put in place so that, again, when things start coming back to life in the industry, you are ready. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them below. Otherwise, we hope to see you at one of these upcoming opportunities. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on set or in a class.